Your Tesla doesn't age from driving alone. It ages while parked, especially near the top of its charge window. The difference between 80% and 100% isn't dramatic. The time spent there is set one repeatable rule every charge, and you stabilize how the pack behaves for the long haul. Myth number 1. The percentage is what damages the battery. Many owners focus on the number 80%, 90, 100. It feels like that percentage is the thing doing the damage. It isn't. The display shows state of charge, but the battery responds to voltage. When the SOC rises, cell voltage rises with it. Near the upper limit, the voltage curve flattens, but the chemical tension inside the cell increases. Briefly reaching 100% is not the problem. Sitting there as hours at the top of the voltage window create more stress than simply touching it before a drive. The BMS manages tapering and balancing as the pack approaches full. That process is controlled. What accelerates aging is sustained high voltage dwell during overnight parking or extended idle time. So the real variable is duration, not the percentage itself. Control how long your Tesla stays near its upper voltage ceiling, and you reduce quiet, cumulative stress that most owners never account for. Finding this useful so far? Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. What actually ages a Tesla battery? Most people think batteries wear out from driving. High mileage feels like the obvious suspect. In reality, there are two different aging processes at work: cycle aging and calendar aging. Cycle aging comes from charge and discharge activity. Depth of discharge matters, but modern thermal management and BMS control keep that within safe limits during normal use. Calendar aging is quieter. It happens even when the car is parked. Lithium-ion cells gradually change as time passes, especially when exposed to higher voltage or elevated temperature. The solid electrolyte interface thickens. Internal resistance rises slowly. None of this feels dramatic, but capacity fades in small increments. That's why mileage alone isn't a reliable indicator of pack health. A car driven consistently within moderate charge limits can age more gracefully than one that spends long periods parked at high or very low state of charge. Time and voltage exposure shape longevity more than most owners realize, and that changes how you should think about every charge. Myth 2. Avoid plugging in every day. You've probably heard this advice more than once. Don't plug in every day, because frequent smaller charge cycles wear the battery out faster. It sounds reasonable. It's also based on older battery assumptions. Tesla's own guidance says otherwise. In the Model 3 Owner's Manual, Tesla recommends leaving the vehicle plugged in when not in use, and states there is no advantage to waiting until the battery is low before charging. That recommendation reflects how the system is designed. The battery management system is always monitoring the pack. When the car is plugged in, it can maintain temperature, balance cells, and manage small voltage adjustments without repeatedly dipping into lower SOC levels to cover standby consumption or phantom drain. Frequent deep discharge creates larger voltage swings. Large swings increase depth of discharge and add cumulative stress over time. Controlled mid-range charging keeps the pack within a stable operating band. Plugging in daily doesn't harm the battery. Uncontrolled extremes do. Consistency gives the software the stability it was engineered around. And that stability quietly supports long-term pack health. The hidden variable: low SOC stress. High charge levels get most of the attention. Low state of charge creates a different kind of strain. As SOC drops toward 20%, then 15%, voltage declines along the discharge curve. Internal resistance increases slightly, and the cells become less stable under load. The BMS responds by protecting the pack. You may see reduced regenerative braking, limited power output, or the system entering energy-saving mode. Nothing is breaking, but repeated deep discharge adds variability. Large swings from very low to very high SOC increase depth of discharge, which contributes to cycle aging over time. The pack is designed with buffers, yet using them routinely is different from relying on them occasionally. Staying in a moderate band, rather than frequently dipping into low charge, keeps voltage behavior more predictable. Stable mid-range operation reduces cumulative stress the system has to manage. That consistency does more for long-term pack health than chasing extreme percentages at either end. Myth 3. Fast charging is the primary cause of degradation. Fast charging gets blamed for almost everything. High kilowatts look aggressive on the screen, so it's easy to assume they're damaging the pack. The reality is more controlled than that. DC fast charging does generate more heat than AC charging. That's physics. Higher current means higher thermal load. But Tesla's thermal management system is designed around that reality. The coolant loop actively regulates battery temperature, and charge power tapers as voltage rises. As the pack approaches higher SOC levels, current naturally reduces. Software limits prevent sustained extremes. Occasional supercharging, especially during road trips, is well within the system's intended operating range. What shapes long-term degradation more meaningfully is charging pattern, not charging speed alone. A battery that sits near maximum SOC for hours every day is exposed to sustained high voltage. That prolonged dwell can influence calendar aging more than brief, temperature-controlled fast charging sessions. Heat is actively managed. Time at elevated voltage is not automatically reduced unless you structure it. So instead of fearing a supercharger stop, pay attention to the routine you repeat weekly. Long-term behavior, not single events, defines how the pack ages. The Every Charge framework. Here's the routine. Set your daily charge limit between 70%. For most commutes, that provides more than enough range with comfortable buffer. Adjust the charge limit slider once, then let it become your default. You don't need to reevaluate it every day. Plug in when you're home. Overnight AC charging is stable, lower power and predictable. If your utility offers off-peak rates, use scheduled charging to align with them. What matters most is reducing the amount of time your Tesla spends above 90%, unless you truly need that range for a trip the next morning. If your vehicle uses an LFP battery, follow Tesla's recommendation to charge to 100%, about once a week for calibration. That helps maintain accurate range estimation. For NCA or NCM chemistry, charging to full before longer drives is fine. Just avoid letting the car sit at 100% longer than necessary. No complex rituals, no obsessing over cycles. You're simply managing voltage exposure and duration. Keeping the pack in a consistent mid-range window allows the BMS to maintain stability quietly in the background. Over months and years, that repeatable structure has more influence on aging than any isolated charging event. What forever really means? Forever doesn't mean the battery stops aging. Every lithium-ion pack experiences gradual capacity fade. That's chemistry, not failure. Over time, usable capacity declines in small percentages each year. The degradation curve is usually steeper early on, then stabilizes. For most owners, the goal is not to prevent aging entirely. It's to control how quickly it happens. Tesla designs these packs with long ownership in mind. The 8-year warranty reflects that. But daily habits still influence how closely your real-world range tracks the projected lifespan of the battery. Voltage exposure and temperature are variables you can manage. Time will pass regardless. When you operate within moderate charge limits, reduce prolonged high-voltage dwell, and avoid repeated deep discharge, you're slowing unnecessary stress. You're not chasing perfection, you're maintaining stability. Over years, that difference shows up as more consistent range, steadier pack health, and stronger resale value. Not dramatic changes overnight, subtle, cumulative ones. That's what forever means in practical terms. Extending useful life beyond your typical ownership cycle without overcomplicating how you charge. Final thought. The Tesla ownership mental model. Battery longevity isn't about chasing perfect percentages, it's about managing exposure. Think in terms of voltage, time, and temperature. High SOC on its own isn't harmful. Low SOC isn't catastrophic. What matters is how long your Tesla stays near the top or bottom of its voltage range. A steady mid-range state of charge creates stability. The BMS can maintain balance more efficiently when the pack isn't constantly moving between extremes. Temperature variation is easier to manage. Internal resistance changes more gradually. Nothing dramatic, just smoother aging. This shifts the question from, is 90% bad, to how long does it sit there? That mindset simplifies ownership. Charge consistently. Use what you need. Avoid extended extremes when you can. Let the system operate within the window it was engineered for. Over years, that steady structure shapes pack health more than isolated events ever will. Keep it stable, and the battery will reward you with predictable performance. If you value straightforward, no-myth Tesla advice like this, subscribe and I'll keep it just as practical.